As I've gotten older, I think one of the most valuable things that we can do in life is do better as we learn more, right? What's the old saying? If you knew better, you do better. And once you know better, I think you have a responsibility to yourself, your family, your community, and the world at large to do better. And so often we see people clinging to where they started and not focusing on where they should finish. And no matter where you start, you have an endpoint. And the goal, the hope is that your endpoint is further away or as far away from your start point as possible. Now, we're going to leave a little bit of meat on the bone here. Everybody doesn't clean that chicken off their bone like my cousin TJ does, but you should aim to have a clean chicken bone. You should aim to be as far away from your starting point as you can be, right? We're doing like a trail run. It's like individual effort exercise, right? We're not going to say how many reps we're going to do. You're going to have an allotted amount of time, which is the time you have on earth to get as much done as you can, right? As much growth as possible. And a couple of the topics I'm going to talk about are people showing that they should know better, but they're not doing better. And they're clinging to their start point, right? Instead of getting to that finish line, seeing if they can go that marathon or two marathons or three marathons or go on that cross country run, right? But what do I know? I'm just a big baby, and I'm back.
Hold up, big baby. Hold up, big baby.
And I'm back.
Hold up, big baby. Hold up, big baby.
And I only got a few more episodes left in this iteration of the podcast before we go on hiatus. But it's going to be a quick show today. I'm not going to kill you with a bunch of stuff, but I do want to talk about a few things. And you know better. If you knew better, you do better. But you don't, so you won't. But I can, and I am, right? So I think about what's happened with Kanye West as of recent. He's pushing something. He wants some attention. He's going through something. God knows what it is. I'm not here to judge. I'm not here to say, but obviously he's lashing out again, right? And he came out and said some things about the Jewish community that weren't flattering, that got him in trouble, and he can't tweet for a while because of it. And I'm not going to repeat what he said because I don't want to be on the Jewish community's bad side. And Kanye knows better than to comment on the Jewish community. And I think he was making a point to show the power of the Jewish community. And, having conversations with friends about this last night, and they were saying, that if he attacked any other community, that the same thing would happen. And I go, not really. I don't think the Black community gets the same defense that the Jewish community does. And that's because, in my opinion, from my perspective, the Jewish community has set a standard of what they will accept and they won't accept. Even to the point that you can criticize the Jewish community or a Jewish person, or you can make a Jew joke or a Jew reference, and if they don't like it, it's considered anti-Semitism, and that's that's the label, and it's non-negotiable. And that's an immense amount of power for a community to have over the way they are treated and covered. But because they have it, they utilize it, and I don't blame them. And so when I think about the plight of American Black culture, I think about the power that Jewish culture has in America, and I wonder if we could unionize, if we could come together to create that same power, to create a community where we won't allow disrespect to be made towards our community. We won't allow people to categorize us. We won't allow people to place us where they want us to be, but instead place us where we demand that we are. Like, just imagine if we could leverage our dollars, our influence to, when anytime someone speaks negatively against Black people, that there's recourse for those actions. What if we could come together as Black people and keep our problems in house, but own what we have, so that we own our talents for the most part? We have a true bargaining chip that's not just talent. It's not obtaining success, making money just to give it away, but obtaining success, making money to keep it and invest it in ourselves, invest it in our talents, and eventually own the platforms that host our talents. Maybe we should just take a look at that, and not the idea of separation from the American mainstream, but building our own mainstream. And if that stream flows into the river that is the American mainstream, then we do that. But if it doesn't, that's okay too. But what do I know? I'm just a pea, baby, and I'm back. And another thing I want to talk about, what I want to go with this one. Charleston White is battling with the streets. And at some point, I think this battle needs to end, because nobody wins when the family feuds, right? But is Charleston really family with the streets? I think so. You see him going at it with T.I.'s son and Boosie's son, and then T.I. steps in, this, that, and the third. And I don't really want to focus on the confrontation with the rappers or the kids. I listen to Steven Jackson talk about, hating on people get you nowhere in life, snitching on people get you nowhere in life. You can't get ahead by telling on people and all this, that, and the third. And I don't really want to focus on the individuals, right? I want to focus on a few things. This idea that we can't utilize the police and law enforcement, that's wrong, is stupid. We need to not silence. We need to ignore the leaders who push that, or the supposed leaders who push that, because they are what you call false prophets. Okay, if you want to live a life of street justice, you're going to end up in street situations what's going to have you dead in jail. Now, do I have the utmost faith in law enforcement? No. But my God, if we don't utilize law enforcement, if we don't try to get law enforcement to understand us, if we don't invade law enforcement and join the forces, then they'll never get it. It's like saying, oh, they don't get me, blocked. Well, did you explain yourself? Did you try to explain yourself? Did you try to ingratiate yourself? Or did you develop a community where you get to choose the law enforcement? So then your community is policed properly. Did you pull your resources together to separate from maybe a community that doesn't best represent you? Because if we're not doing that, then what are we doing? But this idea that you ain't supposed to tell on somebody, well, I'm not one that says you should just go out here willy-nilly just saying, hey, they over there breaking the law. But I am one that says if something is affecting you and it's affecting your way of life and you have the means to stop it, that's what we pay taxes for. We pay taxes for law enforcement to enforce laws. It's not my job to enforce laws. So if you are breaking laws around me and it's putting me at danger, it's putting my family at danger, it's putting my wife at danger, one call, that's all, and it's 911. But we got to take away the venom from the word snitch in the Black community. if we're in a bind, like the idea that the snitch is the rat. I think a human being is more of a rat that if they don't stand on they're responsible for, what they're guilty of, and they want somebody else to take the rap for it. That's rat behavior. Oh, well, I didn't get caught. He did. Well, he wasn't doing it. You had the stuff in the car. You didn't tell him what you had in the car, and then he went on this dummy mission, and now look at it. It's yours. But that's what years of trauma does. That's what a lack of trust in the institution does to a group of people. Like, you just don't trust them. What I saw that China has sent people over to be involved in U.S. law enforcement in various states to see how they are treating Chinese people. That speaks to a broken system. If the people don't trust the system that's supposed to protect them, then the system needs to be revamped. The system needs to be broken down to the studs and rebuilt properly on a solid foundation. I remember the song growing up in private school. You know, the man who built his house on the sand, and it came tumbling down. But you got to have that solid foundation. And maybe we need to explore the foundation that law enforcement is built on. And it needs to be a more solid foundation, a more solid way of policing. Because if people don't trust the system, then what the hell do we have? Our systems are built on trust. And it's the system's job to gain the trust of the people, not the people's job to blindly trust the system. But this no snitching campaign is stupid. This back and forth I'm seeing amongst these rappers, these celebrities who are just trying to continue to pump this street life, this street mentality down our young people and say that's how you're solid, that's how you're real. No, that's how you're real stupid. That's real stupid. Because what progress do we see from that? The nicer neighborhoods have a heavier police presence. They patrol, they take care of the people. They make sure the laws are being followed. Why? Because they're protecting what they have. Whereas we have these other communities where we ain't gonna call the police and, well, let them bite each other's heads off. I just think as the Black community, we got to move past this. We've got to actually move past this because it's getting outrageous and it's doing absolutely nothing for us. What else do we got here? I saw this piece on Bill Maher where it talked about a professor getting fired because his class was too hard. His class was too hard. The kids weren't passing the class. And the kids and the parents were like, hey, this class is too hard. And it was like an organic chemistry class for pre-med students. Hey, if you're not smart enough to be my doctor, then you shouldn't be my doctor. If you don't understand the concepts of organic chemistry well enough to be my doctor, then you should not be my doctor. This participation trophy generation is going to ruin our society. Let's make everything even for everybody, not the process, but the actual result is going to ruin our society. The idea that everybody can be everything, everybody's entitled to the same things that other people are entitled to just because of their existence is going to ruin our society. We are a diverse society of people with different creeds, with different capabilities, with different bodies, with different minds, with different souls, with different drive. And the difference in the people create the difference in results. We can't standardize results. Now, we can do our best to standardize the criteria to obtain the goal, but we can't standardize what it takes to get there. We can't standardize the work that has to be put in to get there. We can't standardize the end. There's a such thing as competition. There's such thing as being first. There's such thing as being last. And if you're last, guess what? This ain't for you. Try something else. I was having a conversation with my wife, and I was like, yo, if our daughter says I want to play in the NFL, I'm going to go, well, try something else. And she kind of gave me a look. I said, look, there are barriers to entry with certain things. I can't start a hedge fund right now because I don't have enough money. But I want to start a hedge fund. So what? So now we're going to let it bleed into academia. And we talk about this race we're in with China. I bet you they ain't firing professors over there because the classes are too hard. They're firing the students because they're not doing well enough. We can't drop the standard because you can't rise to the occasion. Certain careers are meant for the best of the best to be in it. Certain careers aren't meant for anybody to just walk in, fill out an application, and go and get the job. There's a reason why we pay doctors what we pay them. There's a reason why we pay our medical specialists what we pay them. There's a reason why we pay lawyers what we pay them. There's a reason why we pay NFL players, NBA players, anybody, CEOs, hedge fund managers, you know what I mean? Investment bankers. The best of the best get what they receive because of what it takes to get there. The work it takes to get there, the expertise it takes to get there. Or the resources it takes to get there. If they got it, they got it. But just because you don't have it don't mean you get it because you want it. No, it's because you put in the work necessary to get it. And if we want to continue to dominate the world as a superpower, we got to start back dominating the classroom. We got to start back dominating our social lives. We got to start dominating sports. We got to start back dominating one another. Yeah, you got to dominate one another. If you want to be the best of the best, you got to go out and be the best. You got to pay the cost to be the boss. You don't just show up and say, hey, I run things now. No, you got to prove that you can do it. You have to put in the work. And if you're not going to put in the work, then you get to be average. And there's nothing wrong with being average. If you have an average work ethic, you have average capabilities, if you have average size, if you have average income, you're going to be average. And if you got below average, then you're going to be below average. But if you're going to find something and you're going to be superior and you work at it and you have those skills, whether naturally or earned, then you become above average. You become exceptional. And there's levels to this shit. And there's nothing wrong with there being levels to it, because if I work hard, if I put in the work, if I meet the qualifications, I don't want somebody to just walk in and have what I earned just because they said they want it. It's not how life should work. And the more and more participation trophies we get out, the less and less first place medals we're going to receive. But what do I know? I'm just a big baby. What if I told you that Tom Brady is a deadbeat dad? What if I said that he's accomplished what he could in his career? Although he's provided financial security to his family beyond what anyone could imagine, him continuing to play football and not spend time with his family, it makes him a deadbeat dad. And what if I take it off of Tom Brady and I say that the parents who are so invested in themselves and their careers, who are beyond the point of making sacrifices to be good parents, but are making decisions after decisions to not be the best parents they can be, are deadbeat parents. Just something to think about. I don't know. What else do we got here? I think advertising is one of the biggest money laundering tactics in the game. Like, I'm kind of all over the place with today's episode, but I think money laundering is I think advertising is money laundering. I really think it's a scheme to drive up the price because they're creating all these ad expenses so they get to then drive up the price of the product or the service. Like, I'm looking at Call of Duty Modern Warfare, and I got Jalen Ramsey. I got name that rapper, all these celebrities on this commercial. Do we really need that in order to get people to want to play Call of Duty? Does it really work that much? Or I got LeBron James on the AT&T iPhone 14 commercial. Are we switching over to AT&T to get the iPhone 14 because LeBron James is on the commercial that we see? I just think like these super expensive commercials, especially the ones with these brand ambassadors, these celebrities who you got to pay them an arm and a leg to get them out of their bed. Like, does Charles Barkley make me go to Subway? We know he don't eat it. Does Tom Brady make me go to Subway? We know he don't eat it. It's just like they're spitting in our face and telling us it's fucking rain. It's just like somebody looked at you. Oh, I kind of had a little, yeah, I know. Spit in your face and say, you know what? That's water. Whipped it out, just told you it's water. Shit it on your doorstep, said it was mud. That's what I think they're doing. Yeah, let's just give our friends some more money, and then we can make some more money because we're going to charge more for something that we already upcharging. Maybe I'm just a skeptical conspiracist, or maybe we're getting hoodwinked, bamboozled. But what do I know? I'm just a big baby. Let me see if I got some You Welcome Sleep for y'all today. Because we really about to get up out of here, bro. I ain't did a pod this short in forever. Come on. I got some stuff for you. Let's go. Where we at? Agreeing to be exclusive with the first man who pays you a little bit of attention ain't it. Date multiple men at a time to explore your options, discover your desires, and uncover your unique needs. You'll find more than just a man, but the right man for you. I think that people should date. How they choose to date is on them. Whether or not you want to go one person at a time, or you want to go multiple people at a time, or you want to date differently at different phases in your life. Because I think as we get older, when we know what we want, when we know what we're willing to deal with, and we know what we offer, it's easier to date one person at a time. Because when you date that one person at a time, you've experienced all the stuff we're talking about, because we know our options, you know our desires and our unique needs because you've already gone through that through your previous relationships. But while you're young and you're inexperienced, date as many people as you can responsibly handle. But understand that when you spread yourself too thin, when you're involved with too many people, you're not going to be able to totally give yourself to somebody, right? You can't open yourself and be filled properly by that partner. What else? Definitely in my leave me the fuck alone era. What the hell does that mean? Well, if you posted it, then obviously you want to be bothered. Because if you was really in your leave me alone, then you would turn off the socials to be left alone where people wouldn't bother you. Because this reads, hey, how are you doing? But what do I know? People will talk bad about you with the same mouth they ask for a favor with. Two things can be true. Just because I need something from you doesn't mean I like you. Just because I want something from you doesn't mean I like you. Just because I like you doesn't mean that you did something that I didn't have a comment about. We just act like life is this even playing field where if I like you or I need something from you, then we're friends. We're close now. I can say that he's a raggedy son of a gun, you know what I mean? But he could be the best plumber in town, and I need my pipes fixed, you know what I mean? He could be one of the most unprofessional people I've met, but he's the best roofer in town, and I got a leak in here. Everything's not personal. What else we got? Nah, that ain't the one. Happy Indigenous People Day. The way this country has tried to destroy Native American people is one of the most world's greatest genocides. They try to ignore you, erase you, whitewash you, and marginalize you, but we know the truth. America will be nothing without you. It's nothing without you. This country was built on your blood, sweat, and tears. F the Trail of Tears propaganda. You deserved better. I will never know your pain, but I want you to know I see you. I appreciate you. Thank you. This day and all days, we need to recognize your strength, spirit, history, pain, sacrifice, brilliance. This day is yours, never theirs. Happy Indigenous Peoples Day. Happy Native Americans are the shit day. Good for the person who posted this. I think that if you truly want to care about a group of people, I think that you should focus your more of your time on it and not on the holiday in which they tell you to. If it's truly a priority of yours to celebrate these people, to celebrate a cause, any people, any cause, right? I'm just using this because yesterday was Indigenous Peoples Day, Monday, or Columbus Day, whichever. I don't know which one is the proper one. But the point being is, if you want to celebrate them, celebrate them. Celebrate them, celebrate them when it's sorry, I just got a text. Celebrate it year round. Celebrate it when you feel the need to, but don't wait for the holiday to celebrate it. Anything. And do your homework, do your research so you can properly celebrate these people in the way that they need to be celebrated. Obesity is not body positivity. Yeah, dog, like we shouldn't celebrate obesity. It has negative health effects, and people who are obese need to take care of themselves so they can be the most healthy people they can be. Now, we shouldn't down people for being obese. We should encourage them to not be obese. All right. Two Chains and Crystals launch a new side chick campaign starring Brittany Renner. Here we go.
Three new crystal. Attention! These three new crystal side chicks are thicker, juicier, and crispier than ever. Keep your main thing if you want. We just want to be your side chick. Attention!
Hey, black people, don't support this. Leave us where it be. They are pandering to us, and we gonna allow it because Brittany Renner is I guess falling to the side chick road, rolling 2 Chains. He's just 2 Chains.
You week. Battle of the
Last one. HBCU week that they had hosted by ESPN and Disney in Orlando. I think that was some nonsense. I think it was some bullshit. I think that HBCUs should be celebrated. HBCUs should be recognized. I'm rocking my HBCU as we speak. I'm looking forward to going to homecoming at my HBCU in 2 weeks. But post-COVID, post-lockdown, post-George Floyd, post-Black Lives Matter, I think there's been a pander to the HBCU that shows that people care about the HBCU, but they're not truly caring about the HBCU. What ties do HBCUs really have to Orlando? What's the event that you had? Why would you not tie this to a homecoming or a group of homecomings or tie it to a big classic, a big HBCU classic, right? Why would you not bring it to a historic HBCU city like in Atlanta where you could go to the Atlanta University Center, or Howard where you could be on those hallowed grounds of Howard or Hampton or Tuskegee? And maybe I'm speaking as an HBCU elitist because I just listed 4 private HBCUs, and that's where I went to school. So that's my experience. But I think that if we're going to celebrate HBCUs, we should celebrate HBCUs properly and not just do some dog and pony show just because it looks good and it sounds good. Go down there where Jackson State and Alabama State just played against each other for Alabama State's homecoming. Go recognize that. Get to the core of what HBCU culture is. Show what HBCUs have done to impact and influence American culture. Show how they were safe havens for Black American students who could not go to the flagship institutions in their states. Don't just show me a band and a majorette dancing, because we're so much more. We are so much more. We are so much more. We provided so much more, but the only thing that seems to get Highlighted is a band, a majorette, and Deion Sanders. And I love what Deion Sanders is doing. It's great to see what he's doing down there on the football side of the house. But schools like Morehouse, schools like Howard, schools like Hampton, schools like Tuskegee, Tennessee State, Bethune-Cookman, Winston-Salem State, A&T, Clark Atlanta. You could go along on the whole list. Dillard, Meharry Medical, Morehouse School of Medicine. We're so much more. We're so much more than a band. We're so much more than a majorette. We're so much more than a football team and a tailgate, man. We're so much more than homecoming. There's a reason why we have homecoming to come home, because that place became our home over those years we were there and those experiences that we had. They were great, but they're much more than a dog and pony show. But what do I know? It's the big baby.